Here's 8 mistakes that I avoid when I build websites. This is going to be a video specifically about go high level websites and funnels. This video is going to be for you if you're new or if you're having trouble building a website for your business on go high level. And if you avoid these 8 mistakes, you'll have a website that gets you more clients. I have 9 things that I want to cover today. And the first is, why is this important to you and why this matters for your business? I have this example to illustrate my point, and let's pretend that you have a GHL SaaS agency or a business that just runs on go high level, and you're currently running ads, doing cold outreach, or making organic content to get clients through your website. Let's say you get 1,000 unique visits per month to your funnel, VSL, or website, and you currently have a 2% conversion rate for a $497 per month product. So what this means is that 20 people buy at $497, making it $10,000 per month. Now let's say that after you watch this video, you realize that you were making some of these 8 mistakes. You make a few changes to your website and you optimize it, you improve it, you make it better so that you get a conversion rate of 3% as opposed to 2%. So if everything else in your business stays the same, you get the same 1,000 visits to your website per month. Because you have a 3% conversion rate, you will now able to convert 30 people as opposed to just 20. Now why this is so cool is that even though you only had a 1% absolute increase on your website conversions, you actually had 50% more sales, more revenue. So before you had 1,000 visits to your website and you had 20 people buying at $497, that was $10,000 per month. And now you have 30 people buying the same product, same price, same everything, but you make $15,000 per month. All right, so the first mistake that I see a lot of go high level businesses make on their website is that they use those GHL templates, which suck. And the reason why is because a lot of them are generic, they're hard to edit, and just not user friendly at all. Now I have this template right here, which is one of their templates. The first thing that you notice is that this is very corporate, very generic, very boring. And if you're competing with other businesses that have websites that were done professionally, this might not be the best choice. That is why I like to build websites from scratch to have full creative control and make sure that I design the website exactly how I want it to be. I've noticed that for some of these websites, some sections are kind of like only mobile or only desktop visible. So what this means is that there's kind of like 2 different sections, one for mobile, one for desktop. And when you make any changes, it will make it so that it's double work for you as well. So that is why, for these reasons and some other reasons, I do not like to build websites from templates, and instead I like to do everything from scratch. The second mistake that I see is that a lot of the websites that I see on go high level are not optimized for mobile. What I'm going to do for this video is, I have this website right here. I made it bad on purpose. There's a lot of things that I would change to make it better, and I'm going to show you all of the mistakes that I see on this website and how you can fix it on your go high level website. So right now I am on the website editor and going back to the mistake that I was talking about, which is this website not being optimized for mobile. A lot of the times what I see happen is that a website is built decently or even beautifully for desktop, but because the website was not optimized for mobile, in this case you see that if I click this button right here, this looks very messy, very hard to read. It looks like I'm finished. So what I would do is click this right here, and where you see the font size, I would start changing and playing around with the font sizes, the layouts, and everything else. For desktop, this font is 75, but if I wanted to make it a little bit smaller on mobile, what I would do is make this maybe to a 36. And of course this is way too big, so I would just make the sub headline a little bit smaller as well. Now this is a little bit too text heavy, and we're gonna get to that in just a sec, but just making sure that you build a website that is optimized for mobile is gonna help you convert traffic that is coming from a phone, which is one of the other reasons that I like building from scratch as opposed to the templates. Some of the templates I don't think are too optimized for mobile. The next mistake is overdoing colors, animations, which can be distracting. Let me show you this website right here. I'm gonna refresh it so you see what I mean. You see that when I first load this page, there's a lot of effects, a lot of things that are distracting. They're not adding to the experience of the website, and instead they're distracting or taking away from this website. It's making it very overwhelming. Too much going on. Let me show you again. I know that when you first learn how to do these animations, you want to play around with them and add them to the website, but just making sure that you add simple fades is a better alternative as opposed to a bunch of stuff which will overwhelm or distract the prospect, and at the end of the day they might click off and visit a competitor website instead. Here you see that if I load this page right here, you see that I'm only using simple fades and they're subtle. That's the key. We want to make sure that we add stuff that is subtle. On this website you see that I have a bunch of colors. I have orange, yellow, blue, light blue, like some sort of gray right here, is just very inconsistent and distracting. Instead, something better to do would be to stick to 2 or even 3 maximum colors, and I would make it so that they match the colors of my company. So this website is a lot more cohesive as opposed to what I had right here, where there's a bunch going on, which is distracting. Another mistake that I see on Go High Level websites is the fact that the fonts and buttons are not consistent. If you take a look at this website right here, you see that I have different fonts for my buttons and even for the text. Here you see that this font and this font are different, and here I have like all caps, here I have lowercase, and just the fact that my buttons don't even have the same colors is making it so that it's distracting, it's not consistent, and I'm not making it easy for a prospect to take the next natural step, which would be booking a call. In this case, however, you see that I've changed it so that all of my buttons have the same call to action, book a call, and they're consistent. Here it was a little bit too weak of a call to action. It was not clear. Lead generation solutions and 15-minute call. Instead, I made it so that there's an action which prompts the user to take a decision or take that next step, which would be booking a call. Another mistake which I see on Go High Level websites, and this one's huge by the way, is the fact that the copy and the messaging is not clear and it sucks. So in this case, you see that this is very long and very boring. It doesn't really speak to the prospect that I'm trying to go after. It says revolutionize your real estate lead generation with advanced solutions. It's very generic. In this case, however, you see that I made a call out, new realtors. So I'm showing specifically who I help, and then I'm letting them know how I can help them get 5 to 8 exclusive leads in your area. And here I have a sub headline that lets them know what the next natural step is, that is to book a call. In this case, you see that this is very long, very boring, very generic. And if a prospect stumble across your website, they would only have a few seconds to make a decision as to whether or not they're interested in learning more. So the fact that this copy is very confusing, very convoluted, will make it less likely that a prospect will stay on this website and book a call. Having copy that is clear, that is concise, that makes it very easy to know what you do, how you do it, and how the prospect can get in touch with you is a lot better than having copy that is like too sophisticated, using fancy words, just like overdoing it to the point where it's just not clear to the prospect to learn exactly what you're doing. The next mistake is having too much text and having a layout that is not friendly. On this website right here, you see that I have a bunch of text, just too much going on, a lot of information that at this point the prospect doesn't need or doesn't care to know. Instead, having a layout that is clear, that is minimal, that uses blank space to its advantage is something that is a lot more effective. Even here, you see that my text is very close to the borders and these tiles don't have space between each other, and making sure that the text doesn't reach to the border will make it a lot better and easier to read both in desktop and mobile. The next mistake is having wrong image dimensions, and to illustrate this point, let me show you this right here. And I see a lot of Go High Level websites set the dimensions for their images with the height, so let me just get rid of this right here and make it so that it's defined by height. You see that this image now looks squished. So let's say even if I fix this to like 300 or like 400, let's say, the image looks fine. But as I start changing this right here, you see how the image loses its dimensions. And not only that, but if you adjust the dimensions with the height, when you have images on mobile, they will also look like squished and not right. So to fix this, what I like to do is click on the image, go to general, and ensure that I do not have anything for the height, and I only adjust the dimensions with the width. So in this case, let's say I did 600. Even if I change this right here, the dimension of that image is maintained, and that's the mistake that I see on a lot of Go High Level websites. But just making sure that the dimensions, as I mentioned, are defined on the width and not the height is the preferred option. The last mistake that I see on a lot of Go High Level websites is the fact that there's low contrast between the background and the copy. This makes it so that the prospect gets disengaged, and because the copy is hard to read, they're probably gonna just click out and they're not gonna find out exactly what you do. This orange and this white, or even right here, is very hard to read and there's not clear contrast. In this case, however, you see that because we chose colors that have a high contrast between each other, we made it so that it's easier for a prospect to quickly read neat, it's very readable. And a tool that I like to use if a color selection that I've made is right is this color contrast checker, which is in coolors.co. So what you can do is paste the hex color of the colors that you're using, and in this case you see that I have a good contrast score. Now instead, let's say that I had two colors that are very similar to each other, so that they're very similar and hard to read. You see that my contrast score is very low, so what I can do is click here to fix, and I have three options. I can adjust the text, the background, or both. So let's say I'm already fixed on my text, I just want to adjust my background color. I would just click this right here, and it would give me a suggestion of a better combination that works and that has a high contrast score, so that I make it easier for my prospects to be able to read the copy and navigate my website. I show you how I took this website that looked unfinished, not clear, not user-friendly, and just by spending a few minutes fixing some of the layout, the copy, and so on, I was able to take it from this to this. Of course, there's a lot of things that I would do to make it better, but just the fact that I added more spacing, I made the copy clear, the color selection is consistent, the buttons are now consistent, makes it so that if a prospect lands on my website, I'll be able to increase my conversions and hopefully get more sales. With that, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on my next video.